Hi guys, so today I have a video sponsored by Tonic Studios. So their new designer's choice is the safety deposit box. Really cool. I'll go through everything in just a minute here. So they did send this item free of charge for my review and to make content for Tonic there. And of course all opinions are my own, and any links in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So thank you guys for using those. So yeah, so generally the designer's choice comes in a nice little pocket. If it needs instructions, it'll come with instructions. So you guys will have all of that. I have a sample and it looks something like this. And today it's going to be a little bit different. I know usually I open it up and we go through things together, brand new, you know. For this one, I really wanted to make a mock-up to show you guys what it does, because I didn't want you lost the whole time until we get to the end, right? And then you're like, okay, what's going on? So with the safety deposit box, it's like a little box within a casing. And as you can see, it has like this cute little circle here on the side, little decoration, but as you can see, there's like a track there that helps you carry this out. So what happens is you have this pull tab. You can decorate it however you like. I didn't decorate the back on this one, what I consider the back. I suppose if it stands up or it lays down, either way. And then as you pull it, you can pull this out, and maybe you can see there's a little ribbon here now, and then this inner box, and as you continue to pull it, it opens up, and the little treasure that you put in there is exposed there. So really cool. It has some different little techniques that we are going to be doing to get this mechanism to work there, and so that's why I wanted to have one to show you guys as we went through it. Okay, so let me put this to the side for a moment. Okay, so the dies here have everything obviously that you need to make that little box. I'm just going to separate some of these pieces out. So like this piece goes to the inner workings, the inside box, and then the outer casing, let's say. So this is for the inner part. We also have well, some other portions. Let's talk about that in just a minute. So we have decorations too. So afterwards, if you want to decorate like the little, you know, front part of the box here, you want to put something in here, or on the under part here, you have lots of little like triangle corners you can pop in, you know, for decoration. The little circles with different inlays and things that you can decorate these side pieces with. And as you can see, I used pattern paper on mine, and I'll probably do the same thing today just so we can focus on the construction. But this is the beautiful Memories paper pack that I used from Tonic. Really, really pretty. And again, just different things to decorate with. And then we have the side pieces here to decorate the sides, and also have inlays. So you can just cut a piece of paper, or you can put the little inlay there to help you with that. So let me just talk. So back to where I was talking about here, as far as the inner casing, you need this one, which is the smaller rectangle, and I do happen to have some instructions. Yours will come with a little leaflet that has the same instructions, but I just printed this out so it's larger, obviously, than this. So it runs through the very basic construction of your box, so you have that to refer to. And then you will need this one for the inside, and this is actually, let's open this guy up. It's this little portion here. Once it pops open, it's this. And then there's another one back here that you don't see. It's like a support for the lid here. So that's what this creates. This makes the box base, of course. And then we have this one here, which is the sides of that inner box. And then we also need the front and back of the box. So you're basically just making a box without a lid, you know, this box base. And then we're going to fashion this top part from the same as the base, but we're going to use this die and this die to stylize that. Okay, so I'm going to keep these here for now, just to not, because we don't need that quite yet, these two. So that's for the inner portion of the box. And then the outer casing, of course, you need this larger piece. You're going to need this piece here, and then two of these, because that's what makes the sides, right? So sides, top and bottom, and then the back piece, which is this piece here. And then we'll discuss, you know, putting it together with the ribbon. So you will need some ribbon. I just happen to use this inexpensive ribbon. It is a 5/8 inch ribbon, but probably a 1/2 inch is a better fit, or anything that fits in this little slit here that we are going to add with this die. Okay, so in this example I have here, I use two different colors of paper. The outer casing is like a darker pink, and the inside one is a lighter pink, just so you can see, you know, the two different boxes distinctly. I think in this example, when I work on it, I'll probably make them both this casing color and then add our pretty papers. So let me grab some papers and we will get started. Okay guys, so to begin, again, I already have out my pieces for the inner box. So the portion that goes on the inside, I just have some really nice heavyweight paper here, probably 300 GSM or so. And we are going to cut 2 of this, which again was that inner, was this inner one, right? I just don't want you to get mixed up. The larger one is for the outside, obviously, because you want them to nest into each other. So the larger one is for outside. So we need 2 of this one. We need 2 side pieces, of course, for the box. You're going to need 2 of the front and back for your box, of course, so 2 of those, and 2 of this portion just to add some sturdiness, and so we'll need 2 of those. So I'm just going to run these guys through, and we'll start working. We do need to do one more thing on one of these base portions, but I'll be right back. Okay guys, I have these pieces, and so again, 2 of this side, of course these are the inner box, front and back, and then 2 of those little supports. So for one of these, you're going to take that and you're going to bring in these pieces here. So again, the piece that cuts like a little slit, and the piece, and the piece that makes a score line. So it's a large die, but all it does is do the little score line here. The reason you have all this is so that you can use it as a guide. So on this guy, on one side, whichever side you want to put it on, I am putting it on the cut side though, the side that's pretty, and then the rough cuts down here, because this is going to pop open right here. It's basically this part that we're creating right now, this top flap. So on this side, you're going to line up those little, oh I'm so sorry, those little like pokies, for lack of a better term there, right there, and just tape that down. And then on the other side, you're just going to place this right at the edge. So as long as you have it right at the edge, you're good to go. You're going to have that placement that you need. And I'm going to run this through, okay? And I'll be right back. So you have that. And just remove this, so now you have that top piece ready. Just going to place these back on. Alright. So now all I'm going to do is put together this inner box. And this is pretty straightforward. All we're going to do is put it together just like any other box that you would have. So let me close up just a little bit, and hopefully I try to put the lighting so that it would get a little bit darker, but it's still pretty bright because I'm using very light colors. So for this one, what I'm going to say is when you go to bone fold and everything, just bone fold it really tight. So like when I go in, you know, to fold these guys, I'm pushing it in really, really nice and tight so it fits really nicely and small, much smaller, much snugger than this outer casing. Just so you have a nice way to pull that out. So just making it as petite and tight as you can. So that means pushing it towards this larger area when you're scoring. I hope that makes sense. Because sometimes if you go this way and push it out that way, it's going to give that slack out. And what I want to do is keep it really tight and bring it in. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to do that with all the pieces that need to be bone folded, which is those 2. These 2 have tabs here that also need to be bone folded inward, of course, and these little guys even have some little bone folding or scoring, but you can just bend those and that's fine. Okay, so we're all ready when I come back to put the inner box together. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this bottom part, because this one that has the modifications for the lid. I'm going to turn it upside down just so that the nice side is facing down so that you're building on this rough cut side. But of course these guys are all going to go like this to build a box, right? So we're just going to, let me get back in frame here, put those like that. And they are going to be lined up on the inside of the box, so don't put them underneath. You're going to put them on this inside part. And for whatever reason, I like to put the glue for this project here and maybe here, just to get it going. And again, we tuck that really nice and tight, so what I'm going to do is line this up the best I can. And then I look on the other side and get it right on the line. You want it to be really, again, just nice and tight so that when you pop it into that casing, it's just really compact, you know, instead of kind of putting it out towards the edge. And what I mean by that is, like, I put it here and we're right on the edge, but let's say I brought it out a little bit. That little bit that you bring it out, and let's say you brought it out a little bit on the other side, you know, like the actual, like that or something, you really need it to be nice and tight on that line so that you get the best, smoothest mechanism, right? Pull there. So right on the edge. Okay, and so you have these 2 pieces, and they made this so nicely that this literally just nestles right in there. It's like the exact same cut. So, really nice. And again, I put glue on both sides just to get it going, and it worked out, so I'll put some glue here. Add my little paper, and even though I have that really nice, you know, nestling there, I still will check on the other side just to make sure it is right there, right on that edge, and it is. And same thing for the other side. Okay, and that's like perfect. Again, they did such a good job of just, I mean, it is right on, as you can see there. That precision is key. Okay. So if you're looking at the steps, we just did step 2 basically, because we cut all our pieces. We're on step 2, and then step 3 is just putting it together, and then we're going to add the brackets, which we already did our cuts, because I did that all at the beginning. And then just add your little brackets and add that piece on top. So we're going to bring this together, and of course, glue tabs on the inside. And this one again, just bring it right together so it's nestled really nice and tight. Right on the edge, right? And I'll hold it for a few seconds. Depends on your glue. And I like using wet glues because they hold up longest over time, but if you just like to use like a tape runner, use a really strong adhesive or like a red liner tape. So I'll go around all the corners and do that. So put the glue and hold it nice and tight right to the edge, right? Okay, and I'll be right back. There's our little inside portion. Just give it a little twist here. There we go. And then we have these guys. So all you're going to do with these guys is glue one on either end. So I put the glue. I'm just going to place it here, right at the very end, just touching, you know, the edge there once we get there. I'm going to hold this down till it sets up. And then I'm going to hold this one down. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that other piece on top right now, because once you get the other guard in, if you have to put your fingers inside to hold this, it's a little more difficult to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just hold that down. And I'm going to bring this over. And once you put both guards, you're supposed to put this on top, but I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to go ahead and score that just to get it going so that when I glue it down, I can hold it open like that. And I'm going to put some glue on this. You can put the glue on the base part if you need to, wherever it is that you want to put it. A little more there. And I'm just going to glue that right onto that piece, that little guard. As I'm saying, if you put the other guard in and it's there, it just kind of gets in the way. So for now, I just glue it together like this. I'm going to hold this for a little bit. I'm kind of pushing it towards that little guard piece. And I'll be right back. Okay, so there's our box so far. And this other piece is, you know, it's optional, but I'm just going to put it because that's what they show in the images. And if you want more, let's say you're using a thinner kind of paper, you can double up a lot of these pieces. So just to show you, again, just sticking down the one end, hold on, right in front, just like we did in the back. Just kind of get that ready. And then this part, I'll push it back down in here on this side and hold that down. Okay, and then our inner box is ready to go. Okay guys, so there's our little box ready to go on the inside of casing, okay? I'm gonna put that to the side for a moment. I still have plenty of paper left from earlier. And this time we're gonna make the outer portion, right, the outer box. So you do need the larger rectangle. We need 2 of this. We need just 1 of this guy. Okay. And then we need, let's see, 2 of this guy, of course, the side pieces. For the very outer box side. Okay. And then the reason you only need 1 of like this piece, because usually when you make a box you need both of them, is because you're only putting in the back, because right, the front needs to stay open so we can slide this out. So you're just making this back piece and the side pieces, and obviously top and bottom. So we'll get that. And then we need 6 of these little circles. And you actually need a few more of these if you're going to make a pull tab, which I totally recommend if you need this. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but for right now I'm just going to do what's required for the outer box. So we need 6 of these. 2, 1, 2, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so just want to show you the paper, how I did this. Used every little bit of real estate. So to cut everything for that, for the inside and outer portion, I took all of this piece of paper, and I just want to show you kind of how I arranged everything on there, and then some of a second paper. And that's if you're using the same color throughout, of course. So we're basically at what is considered number 7. They're just saying to go ahead and put these little guys together. So you're just gluing 3 of these together to make these side portions, but those also hold on to the inner box. So we're going to glue them down, but not completely in the center. So let me show you. I'll do the same thing for both of them. So we're going to grab these 3, and you need to fold some of them in half. And again, I'm just being very particular about my scoring, so it's nice and crisp. On this one, all we're doing is folding it right in half, right? Okay, and then this one too. And then when I bring it over here, I'm going to glue these down. Now, there's a little slit there. I'm going to turn it over anyway so that the nice area is facing out. You can still see that little slit in the center there. I found that when we get here and it tells you to pop them in, and then you kind of, after this is glued on, let's pretend. These are glued on. And you're not supposed to glue this middle portion. That portion goes inside this little track, and then you glue it to your box. But it seems like it gets a little friction that way, so I like to glue it opposite. So I glue this side inside and I leave this side out. And that's going to be the outer portion. So because I'm doing that, I'm going to turn this a little bit because otherwise it kind of wants to bend there, and it also wants to bend on the score line. So I'm going to orient my little circles in the opposite direction, so it's like a plus sign. So I can see that score line there, but I'm going to lay these guys this way. And that's just something I noticed, so this is a little thing I'm doing. You don't have to do that. You can just follow right along with what it says. But basically, you're going to glue down one portion. Put a good amount of glue, make sure it's right on that edge. So I'm lining it up with the edge this time because I'm not using that center mark as a mark. And then just pick another side and put it right up on the other edge. Really butt it close together as you can. And in fact, after I did this, I'm going to open it up. It's really just little tips that I noticed. If I go like this, you see how it's not quite together in the center. You really want that area to be really skinny and tight. So I'm pushing it together, and I'm going to score it really, really tight. Okay? So that way it's not making bulk in the center area. If they're kind of pushed out, then that center area is going to be larger, and it's going to not go through the track. Although you do have a good amount of track, right? That space right here. This little area is just going to go inside of there. But I like to keep it really nice and crisp, so that's just a tip I'm given. I will do the same thing for the second one. Here we have our 2 little track kind of holders ready to go. Again, do not glue this center piece because you need that later. Alright, so now we need the rest of our pieces. And again, just like before, I'm going to take a moment to score everything. And this time when I score, we have our top and bottoms, right, of the outer casing. And then we have the side pieces and then the back portion. And this time, with the back portion, is not that big a deal. But I'm going to score it. I'm pushing out this time. Instead of bringing it in and making sure it's nice and tight, I'm going to push out like this. Because just that little bit of extra, even if it's like minuscule, will help the inner box slide in and out of this. Okay, so again, with this one too, I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to score it, pushing it out. And I'll do the same thing with the other side piece on all the tabs. Score it, pushing it out. Okay, and just that little extra gives you a little extra room. Okay, I'll be right back. So these guys right, I'm just going to flatten them back out a little bit. And I just want to show you, so when this is inside, it is right on there. And that's kind of why I wanted this to be so tight and this to be scored out just a little bit to give you a little bit more room, because it is right on there. Like really, really precision, really nice. So pick one of your little tops or bottoms. I'm going to use that. Again, nice side facing down so that the rough cut side is facing up. And again, just like before, we're going to glue these guys on, and they are precision, like just perfectly made. So I'm going to, well, this time I put glue on the flap, but just bring this up, and I'm lining up the very corner. See right there where it divots in to the very corner. And of course, when I turn it around, see how there's a big space? We don't want that. We want this, in fact, we want this one to be a little bit outside. Remember how I told you the other one, just make it right on the line? For this one, I'm giving myself just a little bit. My score line on this is just to the right of the edge of my paper. And just the smallest amount, guys. Obviously, don't want a big gap there either. But on the other one where I was airing towards the inside, like right on the edge, this one I'm going a little bit out. And I'll hold that down. And this portion sticks out because, of course, your carrier needs to run further than the size of the box so that it pops at the end, right? Because if it was the same size, you wouldn't get this. It would just end here and it would just be closed up, right? So you need that little pop, you need that little extra track. Okay, on this other side again, take the other side, and again, I'm kind of feeling here, making sure we're just on the right of that. That looks pretty great. And then that back portion. Again, just pick one of these guys. And again, it's engineered so nicely and precision right there that you can just put the divots together. And still check on the outside, making sure I'm just a little bit outside of where I want to be there. Looks good right there. Okay, I'm going to hold this until it's set up, and then we'll move on to the next part. Alright, so if you look at your instructions, we're here where that was part 8. We're on part 9, which means to bring in these little tabs. And they're telling you to go ahead and just put them in like this. Right? You're going to collect that, put it in. And when you pop this open, this is going to glue to the box, okay? And on the other side too. But I just feel like whenever I was doing that, it wasn't running through the track as nicely. As you can see, even right now, it still wants to really grip. And for whatever reason, it was easier for me to go from the inside out. And that's what I did. Because either way, you just need a circle. You just need the circle on the inside and on the outside. We're going to cover this again anyway on the outside, so it didn't bother me. But you see, it just seems to give less friction. So I'm doing a little bit opposite of what's on here, but it's just a little tip I'm giving. And so we're going to collect that in to out, okay? And you're going to put these all the way to the back. And now, just like it says here, to put glue on number 10 was telling you to pop it in there and then push it out, which of course we did, but I did it facing the opposite way. Or you can do it facing in and open them up. But now on number 11, we're going to put glue and glue our boxes. So I'm putting glue on one right now, not everywhere. You only want it on the circle, of course. And I'm only going to do one at a time, and I just totally ignore the other one because that way you know you're doing a good job of that. Now this back piece, you don't have to close it up quite yet, but just what you want to know is that this guy is sitting in here. I'm going to bring my inner box, and I'm just going to sit him there as far back, you know, as I can there, leaving some space. Just, I'm looking left and right, you know, just to make sure the box has some room to do what it needs to do. So I'm kind of splitting the difference all around. There's like a little area here, a little bit there, and a little bit in the back, and a little bit in the front. So now I'm going to bring this up and push that together. So all you're doing is pushing that circle against the side of the inner box. So the circle should be all the way back, as far back as it can go. And we had put glue on the inside, and I'm pushing it just so that it makes better contact. I'm just holding it together. Okay. We didn't put any glue or anything out here. It's just on that inner part, and then we'll do it again on this other one. So again, push it all the way back, you know, so it's at the back of the track. Put your glue on. So all the way back to the track, making sure my box is still pretty straight where I want it. And then bringing this up to the side. And now I just kind of put my thumb on the inside to push, to give it some pressure, right? To push the side wall of the inner box to that circle that we just added. So I'm gonna let this set up for a minute, and then we're gonna move on. It is setting up. You can even kind of give it a test run. Slides pretty nicely. I was gonna say, this one I want to decorate before I do everything, but the part you really need to have decorated is this side part, because let's say you come in and you want it all decked out with a layer plus an inlay layer, so that's going to add, you know, some thickness to these side pieces. And then if this is already like totally in place and glued down, it might be too tight. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to cut the decorative side pieces. That's all that needs to happen. For me, I just feel better that way. So I'm going to take these two, and I'm just going to use that pretty paper again. So maybe I'll choose a different paper from the pack, just so it's different from the first one. But I'm going to take these two, and I need 2 of each, right? You need a set for either side. So a set for this side, a set for the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and run these through some decorative paper, and I'll be right back. And the only reason we're doing this modification, what I'm saying, what we need to do right now, because you know me, I always decorate afterwards, and I even told myself, remember to decorate, because I always decorate afterwards. So I would have decorated this while it was flat. But is because I did my little circles differently. But if you had done your little circles the way they show in the instructions, then this would be a solid piece already and you wouldn't worry about it. But that's why I would decorate it first, because you want to make sure that you have that thickness is already accounted for when you go to stick this down. So definitely add whatever side pieces that you want to decorate before you add in your little circles in your box, okay? And I hope that makes sense. Just because when you go in here, that accounts for something, right? And especially if you're doing an inlay layer and a regular layer. So I'm just going to add this beautiful paper, which I should have done while it was flat. Sorry, guys. And then I'm going to finish off my little circle on the outside. Again, that's just because I did a modification. But you definitely want to do your decorating before you do your adding your inner box. At least on the side pieces. The rest doesn't matter, but the side pieces are going to add thickness. That accounts for something, right? So now when I open this up, that's there. Whatever, you know, happens, fine. And then I'm going to add this circle to top off that piece. And again, because I did this way, I'm going to add it in the opposite direction, the little score line. And so let's just put this on here. And we'll decorate it further in just a minute, but that's just to add that, to finish off that circle. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So we have that. Again, I decorated the sides just so that when we put this on, it's accounting for that, because I did a little something different. But again, if you're going to push it in here and let them stick just like they're showing here, then that would have already been taken care of. Just make sure you have decorated your sides so you account for that space that might be taken up by the decoration. And so basically this is this, right? And then we have this portion that goes on top. And then I'm going to also cut a little decorative piece for the top. But in the instructions here, we're at number 13, which is basically putting that mechanism in there. It does tell you that they recommend that you use some ribbon, and they say 215 millimeters or 8.4 inches. I don't know why I can't understand the 0.4, like 8.5 would be 8.5, I guess. So I'm just going to measure on my centimeter side of my ruler 215 millimeters, meaning I have to go to 210 or 21 centimeters. That's 210 plus 5 more, so 215 is right here in between 21 and 22. And I'm doing what they're recommending as far as that. And the instruction, and I'll measure this actually in inches just so you have that info. Okay, so, well, okay, it's 8 and 3/8. So that makes sense. 8 and 3/8. You can do 8.5. I mean, it's not going to hurt. You just need enough ribbon. Now this portion, it tells you can secure your ribbon in place with that little anchor, this other die. I did not do that. I just stapled it, to be honest, because I was like, well, if I glue it, how's it gonna look, and all these different things. I wasn't quite sure, so I'm stapling it. If you don't want to staple them, use glue, use the anchor, and go with that. But it does tell you on here, sorry, excuse me, it says, please note, secure ribbon in place whilst the box is extended. And at first, you know, that kind of got me, because then you're not going to put the top on the box until later, but not too much later. So for right now, this is still open in the back and all that. You can actually close that up if you want at this point, I believe. But either way, so the box is extended, okay? Like all the way out. You see that? It's all the way out. Even at that, it still wants to pop open just because it's ready to pop open. Okay, so what I did is I took my length of ribbon and I put it in here, okay? And it's like maybe an inch in there. Now, what happens is this is going to be attached to the back of the box here. And for me, just to glue it, it doesn't seem like it would work. So you can attach this part first, then attach to the back of the box. So you can attach to the back of the box first and then to the front, however you want. I used, like I said, a stapler. So I'm going to take, maybe leaving about 1/2 inch tail, just coming in here, maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to use my stapler because we're going to cover this up anyway. And I'm just stapling that. If you want to put 2, you think 2 staples is better than 1, go for it. I actually want to use my Tim Holtz tiny attacher, but I couldn't find the refills for it, of course. It's tiny box, tiny attacher, you know. Okay, so while this is extended, this is going to come up. And like I said, we can glue this in place right now, the back of it, or, you know, right now that we have this attached, whatever it is that makes it easier for you. And to be honest, I think that's what I'm going to do, because that way we know exactly what's going on here with the length, okay? So I'm going to take a moment to glue this part. We're not gluing the top on yet. And then in the instructions it tells you to attach the top after you place your ribbon, but you can't glue it. It says the lid needs to be glued into position before the ribbon can be stuck to the inner box. I kind of thought about that for a minute. I'm like, what do they mean? So I'll show you what I did, and it works, and that's what I'm going with. So I'm just holding these guys until it sets up, okay? Just right to the edge. Those little glue tabs. So I've already glued the back portion, and then we have that attached. And I just eyeballed it, right? Now, if this was the same length and I push this in here and it's just the same length, it's not going to do anything, right? You need it to be a little bit tight. So you need to bring this up as much as you think that you need for when it comes out of the box, it'll pop up. I know, it looks kind of weird right now, but... So to me, it's something like this. So I'm putting about 1 inch on the inside, and I'm going to take my stapler and attach this in a way that's not really ugly on this side. I'm just going to move this over. And I can feel that my ribbon's there, and I'm just going to attach it. Now it gets covered up by the ribbon, so I don't mind the way that looks. That's up to you, and I'm actually going to put one more staple right here, and I might remove that staple I just did because I don't really like the placement, but that's okay. So it's just stapled down right here. Now you see that? Okay. So when it's fully extended, it picks it up. But it's not going to pick it up, and I'll show you exactly what I mean, because I know people will say, why don't you just leave it alone? If this was on here, that's glued down, when I go to push this back in, all of this ribbon's going to do that, right? It's because it's not attached, it's not holding on to anything. So I'm showing you guys this, and I'm talking about it because I want you to do it correctly, right? And you might think, oh, that's fine. No, you need to tack it down. It needs to be tacked down. So as you can see here, boom. And it needs to be tacked down in this area. Whatever, you know, as far back as you can get. I went as far back as my stapler would go, but not after this portion. Once you have that score line, if you tack it down back here because you think, oh, well, it's hiding, you know, you can't see it, it's not going to pull it anymore because it's not on the flap, it's just on this back portion. If you were to try to tack it down here, is what I'm trying to say. It has to be tacked down on this portion, okay? And I just pushed it back in, you saw me a little bit, so I can keep it kind of flush, and I'm just going to come in with my stapler as far back as I can, and I'm using pink staples because they're cute, and that'll hold that on. Okay, and see, so now you need that. You need to have that little bit. Okay, there it is. So now that that's tacked down, now we can glue on the lid, and that's basically what it says. The lid needs to be glued into position before the ribbon can be stuck to the inner box. I did it before, but basically they're saying if you glue this on, then stick that down. However, I did it before. And actually I'm going to move that back just a little bit because I don't need all that tension fighting against me. Okay, and that is it, guys. That is the mechanism part, and that's what I really wanted to make clear and show you guys how I did it so that you understand better. If you want to use glue, I would say probably a hot glue. I don't know how else ribbon can get held down for good, right? You want it to stay there. So anyhow, I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put this here. And that is our lid, and I'm only gluing it to those little tab bits. And of course I'll go around and make sure it's nice and on the edge there. And because we did our precision and all of that good bone folding, I mean, it's right on there. It looks really, really nice. All right. And at this point you can actually push the whole thing in if you want it there to help you with your construction so that the box looks really nice. Okay. Okay, and before I pull it out again, I'm not going to because I have to kind of gouge in there, we are going to make a little opener for ourselves. So basically I just need 2 more of this guy. We're going to put 2 of these, whatever color you like. If you want to, you know, make it match the box, which is what I would do, I'm going to cut 2 more of those. And then we need some decoration. So again, do you want to do all these other different layerings for the top? I used to use this inner rectangle, and I cut a pretty piece of the paper to go on top. It's basically the same size as what was on the inside, right? It makes a nice little matte layer. So I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut this piece, one for the front and one for this back piece to cover up our staples. And then is that it for now? That might be it. If there are any other matte layers I need to cut, I will talk about them when I get there, but for right now I'm just going to cut some of these out of some pretty paper and I'll be right back. So I have actually a few other little matte layers for the circles from this little circle here. I just took that outer piece. So, you know, how do you want to orient your box? And then just place your papers. If I want this way or this way. So that way it looks good. Oh, look at this. Both sides are just gorgeous. So I'm going to put that on here. And again, this could be die cut. You can do the corners, all those different pieces that it has. I have this pretty guy. I'm actually going to use this one here because we're going to cover most of this up anyway with the little pull tab. So really make sure this one has glue all over because this is going to be holding onto your glue tab, so I want it to be able to pull that really nicely. And not come off, of course. Have that. And then I have one for the bottom, so I'll glue that to the bottom. For our pull tab piece, all we're going to do is put a couple of these together. You can put more than the two. I'm just putting two. And again, scoring them really nicely. And this time you do want to glue them in the center, because that's what's going to hold them here. And just making sure those are lined up pretty nicely. And I also cut little circles for these guys. And, you know, I'm just going to score them by my hand here and just glue those in. Just something extra. A little something pretty. I'll put the same thing on the opposite side, do the same thing, just squeeze it and glue it down on this opposite side, and I'll be right back. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that on, and it's up to you, you know, probably this way, the orientation you want on that. And I'm not going to open this until this is completely dry. So, just going to pop that on there. Just eyeballing that. And then I cut some extra little circles for these side pieces. And however you put it, it's not going to rotate or anything, so however you put it, that's how it's going to be. So I'll stick this one down on this side. Sorry. Oh, I hope I was in frame. Ooh, I put that right there. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll be right back. And then add my bottom piece here. So that is it. Put the little decorations on there. Again, I covered this back. You can cover the back side also. And then you have your little trick box. Really cute. So again, this is very wet. I can feel it's still pretty cold, you know, from the glue that I just used. But let's try it out. And there it goes. Look at that one. That one pops up open much more than like this one. So it just depends on how tight you put this in and where you staple it, right? Because you can also do it afterwards, but it just makes it a little more difficult, right? But you can just always, like I said, if you added this on here and this was still not tacked down yet, you can just kind of see where you want it to tack down and then tack it down. And then you know exactly how much you're going to have it open up or not. So this, yeah, so anyhow, so this is the one I made prior. Obviously it's nice and dry. I can mess with it pretty well here. This one I'm being very delicate with because I can feel that it still has a lot of give. But look at that. How cute. Alright guys, well thanks for watching. Hopefully the tips I gave you will help you create your own safety deposit box. I think it's a really fun idea. Totally different. I mean, it's one thing to make like a slider or whatever it is, but when it pops open like that, it's pretty cool. And you can decorate that flap too, you know, maybe before you put the ribbon on. However it is that you want to do it, decorate the underside of it, whatever it is that you want to do, of course, make it yours. So thanks for watching guys. Thank you so much Tonic for sponsoring the video, and I'll have some images coming up. I'll have the links in the description box, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.